I wonder if you remember this footage that I took back in November 2020. This is Phoenix's pouch. You can see the pouch opening. You can see the size of the bulge there and that wriggling. And that, I predicted at the time, was about a 3-month-old Joey. Keep watching this video and you're going to see just how correct my math is. What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Koala Gardens. Please make sure you smash that like button and leave me a comment. I'm Katrina and I'm passionate about saving koalas. I have a wildlife sanctuary and you get to share the experiences here with me. I also help create a beautiful series of children's books based on the animals here on the property. Please make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. You can help me help koalas even more. Closed captions are available in several languages thanks to Eric. And now, sit back and enjoy the video. A little of the backstory on Phoenix for those of you that are newer to following the Koala Gardens property is that Phoenix's mother, Racy, came to the property when she was a sub-adult. So she was coming on for 1.5 to 2 years old when she first came onto the property. That was in late 2016. If you've been learning to identify koalas, you can see that she's quite a young girl there. This is Phoenix when she first came out of the pouch, and she was born in 2018. So the timing matches up quite well because this Joey that she now has was born late in 2020. This Joey of Phoenix's that we're looking at was born around 9 months ago. I can tell that by a combination of how big the Joey is, the development of Joey's fur, and as we're going to see a bit later on as we move through this video, of just how confident and nimble Joey is in being independent of mum and yet coming back to mum to sleep. That all says this is around a 9-month-old Joey.
And so it's not, nothing is set in stone in terms of the habitat and the range of each individual. It does tend to shift and change over time, and we do need to account for this and provide them safe opportunities to do this.
There's a link to the full video that snippet's taken from. That was a Wild Koala Day conversation on the 3rd of May this year with expert Olivia Wuzman, who does koala population studies. And what I'm bringing that in to discuss is that I've had some really interesting patterns of behaviour from Phoenix since the very time she separated from Racy. Phoenix and Racy separated at the very end of 2018, and for the first half of 2019 she was regularly seen here on the property, and then as the drought conditions settled in, Phoenix began to be seen less and less, but she was still around most months. Then in February 2020, Phoenix disappeared for a full 6 months. When she returned, she stayed for 3 months from late August until December 2020, and during that time she gave birth to this Joey that you're now seeing. I love playing around in Theoryland, and at the time I theorised that she had come back to give birth. Around 3 months later, Phoenix disappeared, and that video we saw at the very beginning was taken not long before that, and I figured that that bump was about a 3-month-old bump. That was in the November, this video is now being taken 6 months later. Ta-da! We have a 9-month-old Joey, and for some reason, Phoenix has come back again. So is Katrina playing in Theoryland again with more theories about what's happening with Phoenix? Well, I most certainly am. And for those lovely supporters of Koala Gardens who have an adoption package at $10 a month where they receive the e-bulletin, you are going to hear more about my theories in that next e-bulletin. I'm going to work on really putting my theories into some good shape, and there'll be more from me in that. There's a link showing on the cards above if you're interested in becoming part of the Koala Gardens family. It's really the cost of coffee and cake is how I say it. Buy me a coffee and cake once a month and I will give you a whole heap of insider scoop information. And now let's just sit back and enjoy this gorgeous behaviour of a Joey with its mum. Now, I'm not 100% certain, do we have a boy or a girl Joey here? There was a few times where I could nearly see for sure, but in beautiful wild koala style, we've still got a few things to guess about. So just enjoy watching how these two koalas feed their way through the tallowood tree together, with Phoenix returned to Koala Gardens for a while. I had actually left the camera on the tripod and had moved away a little bit. I was sort of checking out better vantage points when the little scamp of a Joey came climbing down the tree. And look at Joey going down below Mum. This is another indication that Joey is a good 9 months or so old, because Joey is really being quite independent, and Phoenix is totally relaxed that Joey has gone completely out of reach and out of sight, and that's not bothering her in the least. She is really aware of just how strong Joey is and how good Joey's judgment is. Joey would have come out of the pouch at around 7 months old, so around 3 months ago, around 2 months ago. And 2 months is quite an amount of time for Phoenix to have paid much closer attention to teaching Joey how to cope. Oh, and here's Joey back up again. Come back up near to Mum to keep going on and enjoying the feed. So 2 months of being out of the pouch, and Joey feels quite confident. In fact, sometimes a little bit too confident, and they will try and scamper up and down those trees. It's quite delightful to watch. Hang on, let's just do a little freeze here. I reckon there's a good chance we have a little girl Joey from Phoenix. Never ceases to amaze me that when a Joey moves with their legs open around a tree, a leaf will blow in the way of us being able to see those little nuggets, or lack of little nuggets, that we're looking for to figure out, do we have a girl or a boy? Of course, the fact that we have such a beautiful, healthy Joey is really all that I care about at the moment, but it's still something I can't help but try and figure out as I'm editing the video afterwards. At this point, I stopped the video camera and I got some close-up photos of that nose pattern. I already knew that this was Phoenix, but then that gave me the evidence without any shadow of a doubt, being able to check her nose pattern against my files, that Phoenix has come back with her gorgeous Joey. Again, I'll just zoom out a little bit so that you get that bit of a perspective that these are wild koalas that we are looking at. These are not captive koalas in a run just on small logs that are only a metre or two high. This Joey is learning how to climb and feed and make decisions up in treetops where there is danger of the Joey falling, but Mum has obviously taught Joey very well and is allowing Joey to develop every single muscle and all of the mental capacity a koala needs to live that arboreal life. And that's something that really gives me a thrill seeing this as I was videoing it. Even though it would be lovely to have clear close-up video, just the real natural element of what I'm actually witnessing happening there just warms my heart. And it's been far too long since I got to film Joey's on the property. So I am just absolutely beside myself with excitement. Anyone watching this who watches young koalas who are in care at the various organisations around Australia have seen young koalas doing exactly this behaviour, but they're usually only a couple of feet from the ground. And so, what you're watching those young koalas do is exactly what the youngsters do out in the wild, up in the treetops. And I so wish I could move those branches out of the way. So we'll just watch Phoenix for a couple of minutes and wait for Joey to come back up so we get some better view of Joey again. When people are caring for young koalas and even adult koalas and they're feeding them and the koala reaches out and grabs their hand, they often think that it's a sign of the Joey really likes them or the koala really likes them, but it's actually just an adaptation of this koala behaviour of holding onto a tree and trying to grab the leaf and bring the leaf over to their mouth, just like you're seeing here. Something tells me that bare twig's not really all that tasty. Yeah, Joey's decided that it wasn't really getting much out of that at all and settles back to decide, what mischief can I get up to next? And as Joey started heading back up towards Mum, Phoenix suddenly decided that it was bedtime. And I love how she climbs over the top of her Joey and get out of the way, Leaf. So annoying. And Joey takes the cue and climbs up onto Mum's back. Joey's grab a hold of that thick fur of their mums, and yes, it is likely it has quite a stinging kind of effect. But you know, any mother knows when they're moving about with their young children, they get their hair pulled, they get tugged on, it's a bit uncomfortable, and that's just part and parcel of it. So now that Phoenix has her Joey on back again, she decides where they're going to have their sleep. And I love the way these two already act as a little bit of a team. Look at the neat way she turned around and Joey just sat herself down behind her, starts holding onto her back. Oh, nearly slipped off a little bit. Lucky Joey had Mum to hold on to there. And Phoenix looks pretty worn out and ready for a sleep. And she has actually signalled to Joey, right, it all stops now. We're going to sleep, settle down. And she can obviously trust Joey to sleep there on her back rather than her have to enclose Joey in her arms and hold on tight in order to be able to get some sleep. This sleeping behaviour actually gives me another indication of the age of this Joey, because Joeys, when they're around that 7 to 8 months old, always sleep on Mum's front. Either they go back into the pouch to sleep when they're first coming out, or they sleep on Mum's front and she wraps her arms around them to make sure that they either don't fall or don't try to go scampering off while she's trying to sleep. The fact that this Joey can sleep curled up on her back now really indicates that Joey is learning to be quite independent, and this Joey is probably hardly ever even drinking any milk, maybe once or twice a day having a little sip of milk. But we'll notice that Mum came down the tree, Phoenix came down, and they immediately settled to sleep after eating leaf. Joey didn't need a drink of milk to go to sleep either. So that's another indication of the kind of age Joey is getting to. And you have made it through to the end of another one of the longer videos, and I hope you enjoyed this because it's been so long since I've had new Joey footage. I just really wanted to stay up there, video the entire meal and be able to share it with you all. So, would you make sure you've liked the video and write in the comments below, welcome home Phoenix. Thanks so much for watching. There's more great video coming up, and if this little team stay around, you might get almost an overload of video. Wouldn't that be something fantastic? Too much koala video is never enough. Thanks for visiting Koala Gardens. Did you hit the like button? Now before you go, there's lots more great video to see, and make sure you've subscribed and hit that notification bell.